tartar sauce on my shirt.
She don't. We washed our clothes since then. We have. Literally.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sitting like this. The dog, if you didn't see, is laying right here, and she has decided. Oh, blip 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 blip. She has decided that she wants to be my emotional support dog during this case, because this case is a rough one. It has to do with a child kidnapping, so that's always going to be the roughest kind of case. It's also hard because I remember the news. I remember watching the case of Isabelle Celis. I remember watching about police looking for her and the Amber Alert, and I remember all of that.
Excuse me.
I didn't know what was going on at the time, but I remember. No, I remember. I knew what was going on because I was 14 when it happened.
I didn't hear about any of it, so there you go.
Mm.
Again, I'm sorry if I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to the news because, I mean, where we work at Walmart. They post the missing kids things on the wall and things like that. So that's how I learn about missing kids. I just don't pay attention to the news and what's going on in it.
Ooh.
And I know a lot of you are going to be like, well, you should. It pertains to your everyday life. And you're correct. It probably does, depending on what the aspect of it is. So,
yeah.
And then I'm on social media. So, like on Facebook and stuff like that, where it gets posted. So,
I think this was before Facebook was big, though. So, it hit the local community hard, and it keeps hitting the local community hard. So there's really no podcast on this case. Just for whatever reason, there's no real like podcast. So I'm doing my best to gather what information I could. So there is a podcast by KOLD, and it does have clips of the 911 call, and most of the information I have comes from it, but there was not a lot on it.
okay.
So it's going to be a hard case because it involves the kidnapping of a child, and spoiler, it also involves her death. Luckily and unluckily, we don't know how her death occurred.
Mm-hmm.
That's the luckily part. The unluckily part is we also don't know how her death occurred, so we don't know
exactly what happened.
If she died a terrible, brutal, long death, or if she was granted mercy and given a short death. So it was really, really sad. Also, I think Angela is the one that recommended this case.
I believe so.
Yeah. So heads up, Angela. Thank you.
Yes.
Isabelle Celis was born August 27th, 2005. On the website, it was a little hard to find a memoriam written by her family. But I did find a little snippet that was on her grave site, a memoriam for the funeral place, and it reads, Isabelle was described as friendly, happy, humorous, and a precious little girl. She enjoyed going to school and was a first grade student at the Academy of Tucson. She also loved to play Little League baseball. She was a normal little girl.
Okay.
And that was all I could really find on her. Like her I wouldn't say childhood because she was a child still when this happened.
Yeah.
But her earlier years, this was all I could find.
Okay.
So on April 21st, 2012, Saturday morning, the Celis family was waking up. When they woke up around 8-ish, Sergio Celis went to go get his daughter ready for her baseball game that day. And when he went to her room, she wasn't there. He immediately called 911 and told the dispatcher she had been taken from their house. He said he woke up his son and they searched the house top and bottom and they couldn't find her. And that was when their eldest son noticed something terrifying. Her window was wide open and the screen was laying in the backyard. So they began looking outside the house, and Sergio is still on the phone, and the police are asking if she's ever snuck out before, and if she would go to another family member house, and he was like, no, she wouldn't do that. And they asked if recently they started to get weird phone calls or anything like that, ransom notice, anything. And he just said no. He told the dispatcher, we got home late from my son's baseball game about 10:30. Everyone took their showers and went to bed. He said he was in the living room watching the TV and he had fallen asleep there, and he was like, I never heard anything. His eldest son, who was the one who found the screen and started looking outside, and he actually got a ride back home from a family friend that was in the neighborhood. He was looking throughout the neighborhood
Mm.
while his dad was still on the phone with the police. And he also called the police to report what he had found. So his dad called the police to report the daughter missing. He called the police about the screen and all that other stuff. And a little bit later, Sergio's wife Rebecca came home. She takes the phone from her son and starts talking to the dispatcher and said that Isabelle was last seen with braided pigtails and was last seen wearing an old Navy shirt with an American flag and Navy shorts.
Mm.
She said she had gone to work and hadn't checked on her. The police arrived later and began an investigation. Isabelle Celis was under 4 feet. She was 44 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes, and she was in first grade, and she only spoke English, but she understood Spanish. And you don't know who it is, I'm going to.
Oh, no.
Yeah. This was the
Okay.
most populated photo of her.
Very pretty little girl.
Yeah. This and this.
That's the picture I think I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
She loved playing baseball with her brothers. That was what Sergio and Rebecca told police about Isabel. They also made a point that she had no history of running away. The police then asked about the night before, and they said they were at their son's Little League game at Freedom Park, which was 2.5 miles from their home, and Sergio said they got home late and that there was no suspicious activity in the park. No one was watching them or showing them unusual interest in Isabel. Rebecca said that after Isabel showered, she braided her hair the way she wore it to baseball, so she didn't have to wake her up and braid it in the morning. She tucked her in at 10:30 p.m., and Sergio said he had kissed her on the head goodnight and the window was closed. When he dimmed the lights and told her goodnight, and after that, everyone did their nighttime routine. Sergio fell asleep on the couch. He woke up at 5 a.m. and walked back to his room. Rebecca woke up and asked him if he was just coming to bed, and he said yes, and they fell asleep. One police document said Rebecca left for work at 7:30 a.m., but another says 6:47. Sergio said he woke up at 7:13 and got out of bed at 8, and that's when he noticed she was missing.
Hmm.
Sadly, these inconsistencies have led to people believing it was an inside job.
Mm.
Sometimes also, I will note, there are inconsistencies because people are panicking and freaking out and they don't understand.
Yeah.
They're trying to wonder where their kid is.
And if she went to work, look at her punch card.
Exactly. So there's talk that there in the beginning there was talk that this was an inside job. I I get it. It's kind of like when a wife is murdered and the first person they look at is the husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do have to look at family. But the amount of people that judge this family,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. These they were panicked, they were worried, and you want to sit there and judge them for their actions and behavior. You look at yourself first and see how you would react in such a situation.
Yeah.
I am going to talk about statistics when it comes to kidnapped children later, so I
Okay.
will throw in some statistics about kidnapped kids. So the Solis home was in Midtown Tucson, and it was a one-story house with a wall that wraps around the front yard of the home. And Isabel's room was in the back side of the house. It sat on the corner, and there was a side street next to the home. It was also close to the back of a strip mall. Several family members came to start help looking for her. And the girlfriend of one of Rebecca's brothers started to clean the kitchen, washing and putting away dishes before the family was removed. Because I will say that is also very on brand.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, as somebody who grew up with a Mexican mom, if there was a problem and people are panicking, you want to give them one less thing to worry about. You do the dishes. You help them out that way.
Yeah.
It's on brand. People though took that as suspicious.
Like, why is she cleaning up
Yeah,
dishes?
why is
Why
she
is she
doing the
doing that?
dishes? She's just trying to ease her mind. Because I will say, again, Mexican family, a little judgy when it comes to the cleaning. Um, I am being a little sarcastic. They're really judgy when it comes to cleaning. And if you didn't get to the dishes the night before, sometimes they get a little judgy about that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like they're trying their best to be like supportive in their own way. And it just, why were they doing the dishes? Mind your business.
Yeah.
Okay?
They got reasons.
This case pisses me off because of how people treated the family. So,
I'd rather dishes be done, like you said. I'd rather certain things be done at my house so that way I can focus on finding my child
exactly.
and not having to sit there and let's say there's bad news and I don't find my child. Well, now I have to suck it up and start cleaning my house because why?
Yeah. So, an important part of child abduction investigations is that the police need to ask a lot of questions and get a lot of information as soon as possible. And there is something that they're looking for. And the statistics help determine investigation when it comes to children.
And not only that, they want to sit there and get as much information as they can so you don't forget anything because the
Exactly.
longer that you wait to get an investigation going, the more you're going to miss out on
And
getting.
again, sometimes when they first ask questions, you get confused. And then when you ask secondly, you answer correctly, and then they ask you a third time, and usually you back up the second time
Hmm.
instead of the first time. Because sometimes in the beginning you get confused by dates or times. Who knows? Maybe she remembered um leaving at 7:30, right? 7 something, but she said 6 something because she got confused, right?
Hmm.
It happens. So, let me see. So, some statistics. Um, because statistics are huge when it comes to child abductions. You'll hear a lot of statistics when
You
it
want
comes
it,
to
yeah,
child.
because you want to get every single detail.
An analysis done by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children compared data from 2005 to December 2014, and 3% of abducted abductions occur inside a child's home. Only 3%.
Hmm.
Everything else happens outside of the home. So, this breaking into the home to kidnap somebody, that is actually a rarity.
Yeah.
It is not at all very common unless the person has been watching them,
Hmm.
which is different. It is a different that makes it a different layer of crime. And reason also is it's 3% is maybe a lot are attempted, but they have been successfully stopped.
Hmm.
So home kidnappings are rare, and that also helps point where the investigation should lead. So, another little fact is that more abductions of children happen on the streets or in the immediate vicinity of the home. Um,
And you said they
so
were behind a strip mall.
yeah. So, immediate vicinity is like the kids playing on the front porch.
Hmm.
That's what they say when they mean with the immediate vicinity. So, let's look at some evidence. Her bedroom window had been removed, and her brother said there was a large dent, like somebody had used a tool to pry it off and bend it inwards. The window is 2 feet by 4 feet and it opens from the bottom up. Police found a latent print on the window. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On the window, and sadly, under the window is where she kept the stuffed animals and toys. Police claimed that the toys seemed to be untouched, but later on, they then claimed that the toys looked like they had been damaged and messed with,
Mm,
that they
okay.
were kind of estrue. So there's a little bit of discrepancy from what the police are saying too. Because I say this now and then I'm going to say they're untouched, and then later on I'm going to talk about how they were messed up, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Um, the crime scene investigators entered Isabelle's room and they looked at everything, and they found used a forensic light in Isabelle's room to check for bodily fluids,
Hmm.
and none were found. So that's a good
Good
sign.
sign. Yeah.
They did find blood on the floor, and shoe impressions were found in the dirt behind the home. And there were marks on the top of an electrical box behind the house.
Hmm.
There was also several cars on property that were searched. There was some stuff found, but nothing of note. Um, it would be stuff that you would normally hold in a car.
Hmm.
Like they found a knife, a driver's map pocket, a plastic bag with instant coffee, and a shower curtain. Like it's kind of stuff you would like if you have cars in your front yard. You're just some stuff you would leave in there.
I don't think I'd leave a shower curtain and coffee in my car. Mm.
Unless they work in like construction or something. Think about it that way. If they work in construction, you could use a shower liner. I've seen it happen where people use shower liners instead of tarps
Yeah.
to block out the stuff from getting oil, dirt, stuff like that. Instant coffee, if you're waking up early in the morning, you just warm up some water,
Yeah.
put the instant coffee in, you have
See that?
coffee.
Now that makes more sense.
Yeah, because at least that's what I'm thinking. I thought when I saw that, I immediately thought of if they work in construction, they could use that as a makeshift tarp, and it's cheaper than a tarp.
Yeah.
and it's also smaller than a tarp. It would fit in the backyard and you back seat and trunk, and you wouldn't have to fold it over and over and over again.
True.
An instant coffee, again, you work late at night, you work in the cold. I don't know what they did for work, but that was at least my opinion.
Thought process.
There was a luminal test done in the back seat of one of the cars, and there was some blood detected on the driver's side. It was not much, but they did note it. It was also noted the family had 3 dogs, and not a single one barked, and they usually barked at strangers.
Maybe somebody that they knew.
Maybe.
Or somebody, like you said, has been watching the family and gotten to know the
Well,
dogs.
this is where we're going to get. This is, again, an inconsistency that, again, causes people in the beginning to start thinking it was the family. Said they hadn't heard the dogs barking, but a neighbor claimed to hear the dog barks, and she heard male voices outside her window, and the dogs are going crazy.
Hmm.
So a neighbor heard the dogs barking, and maybe they weren't home because, again, they didn't get home until 10:30 at night,
True.
and then they went to bed. They did everything. The dogs stopped barking. Maybe they also went to sleep and passed out. They had a long day. It was 10:30 at night.
Not only that, if you're a heavy sleeper,
Yeah.
not much you can do about that.
So the police began spreading their search outside of the home and started looking around. There was some evidence collected, but it was never proven to be hers. They found a bunch of like clothes that were like on the highway that was like a navy blue shirt. It wasn't hers.
Yeah, because she was wearing a blue shirt with the flag on it.
Yeah, and it didn't have a
navy
flag on it.
shorts.
They found a bunch of things. Like, it is amazing how many things they like found on the streets. Like, they found a pair of shoes on the street and somebody reported it. Somebody found a stuffed animal on the side of a road and they reported it as maybe hers. Like, the community did come together trying to help find this little girl when it first happened, which I applaud the Tucson community
Yeah.
for that. Some of it, though, was a little like excessive,
Yeah.
but I get it. You're trying to help find a missing, I think she was 6, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she was 6. No, yeah, no, she was 6 years old. That's 12 years old, the case. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the photos said she was 6.
Yeah, she was 6 years old. So everyone's coming together to try to find this missing 6-year-old girl. And there was some evidence collected. It wasn't proven hers, but they still collected it because they were looking for anything. Because when kids go missing in Tucson, there is a very high likelihood they're going to be crossed into Mexico because it's only like the border's really close.
Mm-hmm.
So her photo was sent to officials at the U.S. Mexico border to keep an eye out for her. And Puerto Nogales was also sent a photo to keep an eye out for her. For days after her disappearance, the family attended search groups, mass, and other events, but it would be 4 days until they made their first public appearance and statements. Um, they brought some of Issa's shirts with to be like, look, this is.
Yeah.
They told reporters they are cooperating with the investigation, that they were increasing the reward. They were asking for her to be brought home. They were asking for a phone call to hear demands and anything. They spoke to Isabelle directly, which is common. They said, we are looking for you, Isabelle. We love you and we miss you so much, and we will never give up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important that they keep using her name. You'll often see in kidnapping cases,
Yeah.
the family is recommended to use the victim's name because if the victim's name is used repeatedly, the killer, the kidnappers are less likely to do harm because they actually start seeing them as a person.
Yeah. Because if you just say my child, my child, my child,
It separates, they can separate the humanity. Using a name brings the humanity.
and then not only that, in their mind, they probably think, oh, your family really doesn't care about you if they can't use your name.
Exactly. So police searched the home numerous
Marie.
times and they looked in places where she might go for safety, including the house of her grandfather, and nothing was found. Now, I am going to give into a little fun fact from the criminologist here. There are different types of abductions, and finding what kind it is imperative because based on the type of abduction, it determines on how likely the child is to be found.
Mm.
So, family abductions and non stranger abductions have a higher survival rate.
Look at how she sleeps. I'm sorry, I just noticed this. She does this. Sorry, we're talking about Tataru.
She sleeps
She
like this.
sleeps like this, like she's like how we sleep or sit. She literally has her front paws crossed. I have never seen a cat sleep like that. This one back here likes to boom her face. Okay,
Yeah, she like, and then when she stretches like this.
she doesn't stretch outward.
She stretches
That's
inwards.
cute kitty.
So family abductions and non-stranger abductions. So family abductions are those they're kidnapped by a family member or they're kidnapped by a family friend. They have a higher survival rate because again, they know the child.
Yeah,
This is often custody disputes. Um, I hate to say it, those who are pedophiles who they find their victim as a family member, something
yeah,
like that. Stranger abductions, it is critical because a majority, 74% of abductions end in death within the first 3 hours within stranger abductions. So there is, once you hit that 3 hour mark, your chance of your child's survival for a stranger abduction basically drops to about 26%.
oh, wow.
So, and now these are very uncommon. Stranger abductions are very, very uncommon, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, luckily and unluckily, people wanted help. So police found a car near the park, and so people are walking around. They see a car near a park. They call them. They say it's weird. Turns out it was from a neighbor who was looking for her in washes and tunnels nearby.
Hmm.
So the police shut down the public access to the neighborhood. They were like, nobody comes in and out of this neighborhood because you're causing.
It's
Yes, we
too
understand you're
much.
searching, but you're causing too many issues. The police are watching everything specifically close to their home because most children that are killed within 200 to 300 feet from where they're abducted.
Mm.
Um, the community rallied. Restaurants and businesses put up signs with her face. Police reports did say that around 8 p.m. on the day she was reported missing, Southern Arizona Rescue Association volunteers were searching about a mile and a half away from the home and found a red fluid on the ground, a rug with fluid. A search warrant was issued for a neighbor's house. We don't know if there was anything found, but a man and woman were detained, and the man was put in a patrol car. This was the beginning of the search warrants. The next steps were for the police to go through the sex offender registry and question people on their whereabouts. On April 20th, there were 17 sex offenders within a 3 mile radius.
Jeez.
12 of them had committed sexual acts with a minor.
Wow.
Um, the Tucson police chief said they have located all offenders on the list and talked to them because we need to check them off. According to the Office of Sex Offenders, uh, sentence monitoring, apprehending, and registering the trafficking known as SMART, a study of sex offenders found a sexual recidivism rate of 21.1% for treated offenders and 21.8 of untreated percent offenders. So if I'm not in, sorry, I the
You're
last
good.
I heard about sexual recidivism. Last time I
I
discussed
said I
about
worry.
this, that was in
I got
school,
re.
and the rearrest or reconviction. So for untreated sex offenders, it is 21.8. For treated sex offenders, the rate to reoffend is 21.1.
Mm. Okay.
So the search was done by Sunday. The search was done. A 3 mile radius involved 250 officers, and there was a lot of stress on the family. At a mill, a pair of blue child-sized shorts, a pair of animal bones, and views of a parent's of a hair headband, a small purse with a photo of an unknown woman inside, and that was all found at like a dump yard, and people reported it missing. And then by that stuff, officers said they found a BlackBerry at the landfill that belonged to Robert Snyder Rodriguez, who was the brother of Robert Celis.
Mm.
They took photos of the phone and text messages and contact info found, and the search was granted and was issued for the brother and his father, Isabelle's grandfather, Hector Rodriguez's car. According to the police, there was a false positive reaction on the tile that was located behind the driver's seat.
Huh.
A towel and a pocket knife were found on the driver's side door and were the only items taken and placed into evidence. So the police then took a scent dog that was brought by the FBI from Virginia and was looking for an unknown scent. So basically, they found a Blackberry at the trash thing next to these blue shorts, a headband, and things like that,
Mhm.
and went, "Oh, what's in the Blackberry?" And it actually ended up being related. The Blackberry was owned by the brother of one of the Celis brothers, who was her uncle,
Mhm.
and so they took everything from the phone. It ended up leading to a dead end. They did get a search warrant for her grandfather. There was a false positive for the luminol test, so they did something and it came back that there was blood, but there wasn't actually blood in the back seat of his car.
Okay.
It just was weird. And they kept going back to the family and all this other stuff. And them doing this search for the grandfather's car caused a lot more backlash, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of people started to suspect this was an inside job.
Mhm.
So the detectives allowed the dog to sniff their hands, and they did this twice. And the dog alerted by barking that there was an unknown scent. And the handler did the process again with detectives and also members of the family, and the dog did not alert, which meant there was no outstanding person that could have been outside her window that the dog, maybe the scent was no
Yeah.
longer there or whatever. When that was finished, they brought a cadaver dog. One officer said that while he was observing the outside of the house, he heard the dog bark inside. After that, the dog was brought to the garage and he continued barking, and the handler shut the garage door to see if the dog alerted, and he was. The handler said the dog had alerted in the boys' bedroom under the bed and garage. So the cadaver dog is alerting to the boys, the sons. They're like, "Oh, there's a dead body in their house." There's not a dead body in the house. Um, uh, 6 days after the disappearance, the TPD released surveillance footage showing 5 people in the business area near the Solis house. And the reason they did this was because they wanted to talk to them and see if they saw anything of note.
Yeah.
From day one, tips began pouring in. And remember, people are also awful. So police have to take every tip seriously, and they pursued everything. Everything they saw. People saw her everywhere. Police had to go look. She was in a passenger seat. It wasn't actually her. There was some shady in a neighborhood half a mile from her house. They had to look at all of them. And they said they had 2,000 leads and had interviewed multiple people of interest in this case
Oh,
within like 6 days of the case.
good lord.
Police got a call on July 23rd, 2012. It was a call from a caller saying their name was Isabelle and someone was coming. Um, they searched and they searched East Old Spanish Trail where they thought the call was coming from,
Yeah.
and there was nothing. And then they looked and saw the call was placed from an apartment on Colby and 22nd. It was a crank call organized by
Oh,
two teen
wow.
girls. They did all go to juvenile hall and were released. This crank call, though, cost the city of Tucson, $4,700 in officers' wages in a 4-hour search, including 25 officers, 3 detectives, 1 commander, and 4 communication personnel.
I hope they learned something.
Yeah. Um,
Wow.
for years after this, they continued to look for any leads they received on her disappearance, but there was none that led to her discovery. In 2016, a business called More Security, remember, she went missing in 2012.
Hmm.
In 2016, a business called More Security released a surveillance cam shows what happened that night. And from the beginning, Sergio was like, they have surveillance. And it looks at the house. And the police said there was nothing of note in the videos. And it there was technically nothing of note. It never shows Isabelle, but it does show there was a lot of foot traffic around the house. Um, Weeks and months passed. There was nothing new to the case.
Yeah.
There was a lot of speculation. But sadly, the number one suspect in most people's mind was Isabelle's dad, Sergio. He was the number one theory, and because of how odd he sounded on the call to 911. Most people say it's weird how on the call he was like, "She's been abducted." Because why would it be your first thought that my child was abducted? I'm sorry. If I had a
The child
daughter,
is missing. She's not in her bed.
if I had a daughter and I had put my daughter in her bed and I wake up the next morning and my daughter is no longer in bed and the window is open in her room,
Yep.
I'm going to say my child is abducted. Because if I say my child is missing, you're going to assume, what? Oh, maybe she ran away.
Hmm.
If I say she's been abducted, you're gonna take me more seriously.
Yep.
How
I
many
agree.
cases have we seen where a parent calls and goes, "My child is missing," and the police goes, "You sure they didn't run away?"
Hmm. I agree with that.
So I don't put much credence in that idea. I would do the same thing because I want the police to take me seriously. I'm going to use language they understand and know.
Hmm.
So, a little statistic is if a child is a newborn or up to 5 years old, the chances of their kidnapper being a family member or family friend is significantly higher.
Hmm.
Police know a majority of the time that when there is a kidnapping of a child, the chance of it being a family member is high. People said because he laughed on the 911 call, he must have been the one to kidnap her. Because I think somebody he made like a little chuckle or something like that because somebody said something. You can not laugh anxiously. We do it all the time.
Yeah, that's why it's our words are hard. That's our slogan. We laugh at the dark stuff and it helps.
They thought her mom Rebecca was far too emotional.
What do you expect her to do? Play, gin and be happy and
Her
crack
daughter
jokes?
is been abducted. She was in her bed. She's no longer in her bed. The window is open. The screen's been removed.
You know what? You know what kind of cracks me up right now? I'm gonna point this out. I'm gonna freaking do it. You all sit here and judge a family for a dad laughing and the mom's too dang emotional. But when the Sandy Hook shooting happened, not one of you tard buckets said a dang word when the dad was laughing instead of being emotional.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, I seen it because I did a paper on it." The dad was literally joking with whoever he was talking to at that moment, and then goes from laughing to crying. It's like, that's where I'm kind of like, nah, no, no, I don't like the way the dad handled that. If
Yeah.
you're a distraught parent,
Mhm.
Isabelle's mom, the guys may not be as emotional as the moms.
Yeah.
Okay, understand that fully, and I get maybe that's how the one of the kids for the Sandy Hook shooting hit their dad deals with things. Maybe like this dad, it's a nervous laugh. It's a, I just want this to be done and I want her to be
Yeah.
found. And maybe that's what he was doing. But when you watch the little snippet video,
Mhm.
he was laughing,
Yeah.
and I totally get it. It wasn't one of those little nervous laughs and then goes from that to crying. It's like, okay, that made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
So picking on a dad because he laughs in a 911 call, I'm gonna agree with Abigail. That man is probably sitting there like, "Oh, I just want this to be done," and come on.
And then what makes it worse is they started looking into him, right?
Hmm.
And there were problems with him in the past, right? CPS had been previously called.
Okay.
And it was on one of the sons that said Sergio used to drink and they had hit him twice before. Rebecca then said she didn't want to see him and she called her brother to be with her. There was a resolution made. He had restricted access to his son,
Yeah.
and it was 2 years later. Um, so there was that history, right? But that history had been resolved. There was no evidence that he had continued his ways. He
Because
could have stopped his ways. He could have been like, you know what, I went too far.
when CPS does get involved, you go through a whole slew of things.
Yeah,
You have to go through classes. You have to get visitations to see,
and
to do visits. You also have to do random, not just drug tests, but whatever I'm going to call it a drug because drinking is like a drug to certain people because you get addicted to it. They can have you drop an alcohol test.
mhm.
It doesn't have to be a drug test. It could be an alcohol test. So,
And that's the thing. He had restricted to access to his son until he was able to get it. She wanted. I don't think if Rebecca knew about it, she didn't want to be near him after she found out. After this all began, and her brother stayed with her to be that support for her.
mhm.
They've reconciled. They fixed their issues.
She could have divorced him. She
She
could have left.
She could have, but they reconciled. But there is no evidence that any of that continued after.
Mm-hmm. And when you have people,
And I get, yes, you have to look at past mistakes to see if they're going to reoffend.
yeah,
Issue is, he was drunk. He used violence.
mm-hmm.
There is no way, if you look in his past, there is any evidence that he would. You do not go from hitting a child to kidnapping a child.
yeah,
That is too big of a leap.
that's a jump. Yeah, that's a major jump.
That's a major jump. That's a major escalation in some tides of criminology. It doesn't make sense. So 2 years later, when they were asked about the kidnapping, Rebecca and Sergio were like, they spent too much time focusing on us and not trying to find the kidnapper, which
Yeah.
I fully agree with.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They spent too long looking inside the home
Just
instead of looking outside.
listening to this case, they were paying too much attention to the family
Yeah.
instead of doing their job.
So there is a study done by the FBI that said they studied kidnappings from 2010 to 2017, and they were looking specifically at stranger kidnappings.
Mm-hmm.
And they said there was a high in 2011 of 384 stranger kidnappings to a low in 2016 with 303, with no clear pattern tracking method. So out of all 50 states, this giant country of ours, only 343 was the peak of stranger kidnapping.
Wow. You would think it'd be more. But like you said, it's more common for family. So that number is probably going to be
family kidnapping is much
exponential.
higher
It'd be
because
high.
you have custody disputes if the husband does not agree. If, let's say, there's been cases where a husband took the kids because the wife originally gave permission, then she didn't want to, she changed her mind last minute, and then guess what? Counts as a kidnapping technically. That's technically a kidnapping, and then you have family members who kidnapped a child because
I got told,
their own sexual fucking desires, pervs.
I got told
Yep.
before I moved here that my ex-husband had packed up our boys and brought them here, and I didn't know he had done that.
That's technically kidnapping.
That's what I was told. But because I knew where they were going, it didn't count as kidnapping.
No, he technically crossed state lines.
Yeah, no, they said because the officer said because I knew where they were. He goes, "Did you know where they were going?" I'm like, "Well, his parents live in Arizona." And they said because they knew where he was taking them. Yeah.
No, you didn't know. Technically,
Technically, I did not know where they were going.
whoever that officer was did their job wrong. If you went to the police and goes, he has a family member in Tucson, I'm assuming he went there.
Yeah.
That does not know. You don't know. That is technically a kidnapping.
Nope.
Oh!
Seriously, that's what I was told.
No, that's wrong!
And I got the nice cop, too. He got the bad cop. I got the nice cop.
No, that's wrong. That is wrong.
But also hear this part out, too. It also because Jared, right here, my youngest son, this part of your knee, okay, you can't really see it on the cup. So this part of your knee, it was broke on him. And they thought either they thought their dad did it. I was like, no. I know his brother and him were playing, and he had been kicked by his brother. I go, so you talk to his brother about that one because I caught him doing it. And then that just when the whole CPS case thing started, and then that's when I got a phone call. Yeah, and I was like, oh no, yeah, why? Okay, see, this thing is plugged in. Sorry, guys. My phone, for some stupid reason, our little thing here will say 20%,
even though it's charging.
and it's charging, but
yeah. So no, that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. You.
Should we take a time machine and go back?
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because I'm gonna say something really mean, really, really mean. So the Celis family was seeking actual answers. They turned to psychics. They turned to psychics because they had nowhere else to turn. The police were not taking them seriously. The police weren't getting any answers. They turned to psychics. One said the man who took her was a Hispanic, 20 to 30 years old. She said Isa didn't go through the window, but through the door. Someone claimed there were two men and two women involved in the kidnapping, and at least one was a relative. They said that they got the feeling they weren't asking for a ransom, but waiting for the reward money to get high enough. Now, the police department was like, we don't use psychics. We put no
Yeah.
hold on what they say. Several psychics gave suspects, and their theories varied from psychic to psychic, so it was no real help.
I
They
wouldn't go to a psychic. I'm sorry, no disrespect to psychics, but
I think
I don't
also
think
I
so.
think they were desperate,
Yeah, and that's
and they
understandable
had
too,
been
because your parents.
they were being blamed by the police for their daughter's kidnapping, and they're like, if the police don't trust us, we don't trust them. I'm gonna go the only place I can think of.
Yeah, and that's understandable. I mean, I could see that go. I see that happening.
So,
Right.
she was missing for years with no new information, and it did not look good for her statistically.
Hmm.
On Friday, March 31st, 2017, the Tucson Police Department held a press conference. It was at this press conference they announced they had found Isabelle Celis' body in the beginning of March.
Hmm.
The remains had been found in a remote area of Pima County. A portion of the remains were sent to an independent lab for testing, and that's where they found out it was her. They originally did not release where they found her because they were still investigating the area.
Which makes that's very smart because, like they said earlier, they were kicking everybody out of the neighborhood, saying you're not allowed to come in here
Yes.
because you're causing or
Well,
stirring up stuff.
we're also going to find out. She was found on near the streets of Trico Road and Avra Valley Road.
What the heck is that?
It's up north. It's super far. Uh,
I'm all like that north, because when I moved here, I learned that that's north.
Lambert, it's literally the middle of the desert.
What?
Yeah, she was found here.
Yeah, do that. Do that. Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know why it won't let us see this.
Maybe that's where they found her.
No.
Oh, I was just being a butt. I was like trying to look. I was looking at the road because I know we do in-home deliveries and stuff. I don't know if we go that far.
Let me see if I can go here and I can.
What is the?
Okay, let me see if I can get.
So they're saying right there,
She was found in this area.
North Lambert.
Baker Barkey's Inn, Cactus Tree,
Mm.
auction house. I can do something
Well,
cool.
it could because Lambert Lane. That's one place that we would deliver to sometimes. I
Mm,
think that's like a dirt road.
let me see if I can get directions from our address right now.
Oh, look, there you go.
27 minutes from where we're at. It's over here.
Because we do go past Marana
Yeah, it's
to
right.
do deliveries.
Yeah, it's right here. It's by Picture Rocks. It's Picture
Oh,
Rocks, and then
oh,
it's yeah.
that's
It's
way the heck out
it's
there.
desert.
Wow. Because Cortero goes out by Picture Rocks.
Yeah,
They
it's
do more Picture Rocks than we do.
yeah. It's desert. It's So her body had been found on March 3rd, 2017.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you've been there or seen it for our Arizona people, but it is desolate. There's not a lot of people over there.
No, because like I said, for what we do at work, where we work at and doing in-home
Mhm.
deliveries, I know Cortero goes out by Picture Rocks a lot because they do have some, like you're saying,
Mhm.
some customers out that way.
We also will
Mm.
never know where her body was officially found, which I say good because let even if she's her bones are no longer there, let
Leave it
her
be.
leave it be. Let her spirit
Yeah,
rest.
leave it be. Don't try go out there
Yeah,
digging things up because she does not
no,
deserve that at
no.
all. She does not deserve it.
She had been missing for 5 years, and when her remains
Jeez.
were found, people wondered how old they were. Because there's a fun little thing about the Arizona desert.
Yeah.
If bodies are left out, they decompose faster. I've seen things where like they'll leave a to study this, they'll leave an animal like a pig out in the desert. It died of natural causes,
Okay. I'm
and
like,
they monitor how fast the pig decomposes,
yeah.
and it like took 3 to 6 months for the pig to fully decompose to be just skeletal
Well,
remains.
and it also helps the fact that coyotes. You
Exactly,
have
that's
all these
part of the
animals, the
factor.
birds, the coyotes, the vultures.
And the desert heat just dehydrates, and
Oh
it
God, yeah.
yeah.
So you're yeah okay.
So it
Plus the
being
creepy crawlies that
yeah.
yeah, we're not going to say what they are.
So the autopsy was conducted on March 4th, and it
Uh,
was 10 pages long.
oh jeez.
The remains were skeletal, including portions of the cranium and right pelvis and vertebrae.
Hmm.
There were some non-human bones with hers.
So maybe an animal.
Uh-huh. They said originally they tried to identify her by using her teeth, but they were unable because the radiographic images were inconclusive.
Oh, and
So
she's also
yeah,
small.
yeah,
She was also very young. So as the more you grow, your
the
teeth
teeth
grow
grow.
with
Yeah,
you, and she probably hadn't lost all her baby teeth.
the bones were not found together; they were scattered. So police had to search on their hands, a search on their hands and knees for the bones. So they were literally on their hands and knees, going like this,
So I'm wondering if it was the fact of because her bones were scattered.
and
Animals?
they were scattered in a linear fashion.
So like maybe animal?
Maybe. They were also not the only remains. There
Oh,
were other human remains found with hers.
oh geez.
Those bones were also sent for genetic testing to see if they could identify the bones. These bones were said to be of an indigenous girl between 5 and 8 years old.
Oh wow, so another victim.
Yes. Isabelle Bones told a story where there was a perimortem trauma in the first thoracic vertebrae through the left lamina, a part of the bone near the spinal cord.
Ooh,
Yeah. It was estimated she had been killed 2 to 5 years between her death, between her kidnapping and the finding of her remains, between her death and the finding of her remains for 2 to 5 years. So she could have died immediately after she was taken,
oh
or
wow.
he could have kept the kidnapper could have kept her for 3 years and then killed her.
Oh wow.
The official cause of death was homicide by unspecified means because they could not officially determine. It's not like she had a gunshot wound or anything like
Yeah,
that.
because her
Yeah.
unfortunately there's nothing to show that.
So now the police have to learn who the other set of bones was and who the killer was. But
Okay.
there was also another issue. I said that there was one set of bones found. I must have not put it there. There were technically four sets of bones found.
Oh wow. Okay.
Four different people, four different girls'
Hmm.
bones were found there.
Around the same age probably was it or did it
I think the other one that they were able to identify was 13 years old, and she would be the
Jesus.
oldest victim.
Wow. Holy jeez.
There's if there's four bodies there, I highly doubt, right? I highly doubt that if there is a people murdering people, that they're all gonna dump in the same area. That's just me. I don't know about you, but if
I mean, you had people that buried them under their house and in their backyard.
yeah, but are you if let's say you have five different people who killed five different people, conveniently all around the same age group, right? All five people, and you just all of them decide at random points in time to dump the body in the exact same place, not talking to each other. They just do it random. That's statistically probably not very high.
Yeah, true.
So statistically speaking,
Hmm.
well, no, no, no. If I'm not mistaken, the two other bodies were found when they were in the middle of they were found after they had been dumped, so they technically hadn't decomposed yet. So
Oh,
they were found. So but I'm going off on thing. Statistically, that's a rarity. They found two bones, and they had already found a third girl's body there,
oh wow.
meaning somebody was using that area as a dumping ground.
Well, yeah, it's in the middle of the desert. Nobody's really going to look.
Yeah,
At
but
least
in
you
the
think.
they said she was buried underneath a tree next to a pile of rubber of old tires. That's where they found her bones.
Oh wow.
That is a very specific location.
Yeah, a little too specific. Specific.
And if you have three bodies that are being dumped in that same location, that's a serial killer.
Yeah, Yeah,
That's a serial killer.
because they're using the exact same spot. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's my thing. I don't Tucson police, they may not say this man is a serial killer. I am under the firm belief that this man is a serial killer. This killer, because it is a man, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a man, is a serial killer.
Hmm.
That is my strong belief. There are 3 victims that are dumped in the same exact area.
Yeah.
My guy. It's the same. We've already discussed the Long Island serial killer here. She and I have not discussed it. 10 bodies found on the same stretch of highway, just like 5 feet from each other. Yeah, that's going to be the same killer.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Would you believe the police said that no, they're all separate murders. Multiple people are just dumping their dead bodies there.
Oh yes, because that's where they want to dump them.
Yeah,
They text each other.
a serial killer group
They
chat.
text. Yeah, I was gonna say a text. Hey, don't go put one there because it's my turn.
Yeah, like 5 feet from each other. Like I just dumped a body. You got to move 5 feet over to dump.
You got to go 5 feet down. That's my spot. Stupid.
Yeah. So these bones. So the police have to learn who the other set of bones are and who the killer is. But the question was raised: how did the police know to check there? And it turns out it was actually not a coincidence. In early 2017, the FBI was contacted about an individual named Christopher Clements. They were told he had info on the kidnapping of Isabelle Celis. The person who called TPD was like, "Let's solve the case." And on February 8th, 2017, a woman named Melissa called the FBI and told them her fiance knew where Isabelle Celis was, and she told them to contact Christopher Clements directly because that was all she knew.
Oh, wow.
Now, he was actually really easy to track because he was in jail for burglary. He sat down with 2 FBI agents on February 10th. Now, he wanted to negotiate. He wanted the burglary charges dropped and immunity for the Isabelle Celis case. and he wanted his Acura.
No.
Fuck your Acura. Which was seized and returned. Something I found interesting in this transcript was he told the officers, "You think I'm one of those undereducated mutts?"
Oh wow.
The fuck you mean by that? I feel like, I don't know why, but that feels racial to me.
Dude, my guy, what is wrong with you?
I don't know why, but I get
You need a throat punch. Just what is that movie called? Sucker Punch?
He also claimed there were 5 to 6 people who could tell the FBI where she was, and they were like, "So she's dead." And he was like, "I never said that." By the way, he's a little bitch. He wouldn't admit if she was dead or alive.
Wow.
And then he said, "You can have her in 12 hours."
So that's what?
I hate him. Christopher Matthew Clements was born January 1982, and he grew up in Estado, Oregon. And he actually lived with his maternal
You're making us 40-year-olds look bad.
And he actually lived with his maternal grandparents, and he had 2 half brothers, but they hadn't talked in 10 years. They said Christopher and his dad never got along, and he grew up in foster care. Now, Christopher, for whatever reason, had a thing for Acura cars.
Okay.
And Melissa told police she had met him at the Park Place Mall where he worked, a mile and a half from the Celis home.
Okay.
Police talked to Christopher's ex-wife, who he had been married to for 14 years, and she said they got married 2 years after they met, and they had a kid. The ex-wife said he would stay up all night watching porn, and he would bring home girlfriends from strip clubs to their home, and she would have to sleep in the car while his girlfriends were over.
Sorry. Dude. Wow.
You're
a piece of work.
He's a fucker.
Yeah, you got that
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I did. I
Right.
didn't even mean to say that way, but you know what? I'm right.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Now, he was 40 at this time, and he had an extensive criminal history beginning when he was 16 years old in 1998.
Dude, I was 42 when you did. You're retarded.
When he was convicted of his first-degree SA, and 4 years later convicted of identity theft and assault in Washington.
I don't like this guy.
He was also convicted twice for failing to register as a sex offender in 2006 and 2007,
Really don't like you.
and charged with too close to living in a school in 2013.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to do that.
In October, he and Melissa were arrested in a sex den. I didn't even know that that was a thing. That's a thing, I guess. TPD responded to an ad on Backpage, a now downed website that was used for prostitution, and it was an undercover sting operation in a Tucson hotel. Melissa showed up at the room and then left before a deal was made, and she tried to run, and she was arrested while on the phone with Clemens, screaming about it being a setup. Both were charged with child abuse because there was a child in the car with Clemens.
Oh, that's lovely.
The charges were later dismissed, and the burglary happened in 2016.
Okay.
Special agents met with him throughout February, and they tried to get info on who took Isabelle and why. He said he wasn't involved in her kidnapping, he just knows of it. And he claimed that she was kidnapped because they wanted to hurt Sergio. He claimed that a year before Isabelle disappeared, he saw Sergio pay someone behind a pawn shop on Craycroft with gold and silver Mexican coins. And he said it was clearly for a debt. My guy, your racism is showing.
Yeah. You might want to roll down your sleeve. God.
He said that the kidnapping of Isabelle was retaliation. You don't think Sergio would mention this to the police? If it was if he thought it was retaliation?
Mm-hmm.
He refused to say more until a deal was made. He said he would give the evidence that Sergio was involved in the kidnapping. There was no evidence he was involved in the kidnapping.
Yeah. Come on.
After a deal was made, he told her where to find her body and said, "Last I heard, she was dead." You couldn't have started with that?
Not him. No, he has no brain cells.
Yeah. On March 3rd, 2017, he took the police to where her body was. Now, even though there was a deal, he couldn't just walk out of the jail. He was transferred to Maricopa County Prison, where he was facing charges on a different burglary. So police decided to use this, and they executed several search warrants, including to his home. Clemens and his fiancee previously lived in, and a discovery was made. In one of the corners of the fenced backyard, police found a sheet of plywood on the ground and a Tupperware bin under it, and they opened it and found some things, including a faded uh, purple hooded child sweatshirt. There was also a parent's school for a young named Mercedes written on it, and Ashes, Isabelle's middle name, is Mercedes. So somebody had written Mercedes in Ashes, which was her middle name.
Yeah.
They also received access to items in the search warrant done by the Maricopa County in reference to the burglar case, and there on the computer, they found photos of young girls between the ages of heads up. This is fucked up. Ages of 3 to 13 in inappropriate manners.
Wow.
And the internet search history was available to search. And here are some of the searches. I'm gonna need you to get mad with me.
And I'm gonna laugh while she gets mad because the way she talks is, yeah. Get ready, folks.
Isabelle Celis more than 10 years before her remains are found. So these are 2 years before her remains are found. Sexy child killer found not guilty.
What?
What the fuck?
Come on, dude.
And Arizona cold cases.
Why are you looking at Arizona cold cases?
Why are you looking at sexy child? What? Are you looking up yourself? Are you trying to look up yourself?
Because, dude. Okay.
Your ego is big. You're not even that attractive. You're ugly.
Overcompensate much?
So, remember how with Timothy Coggins, they just couldn't keep their mouth shut?
Yeah.
Clemens is the same way.
Uh-oh.
Clemens also couldn't keep his mouth shut, and a former cellmate said he talked about the case a lot and said there may be damning evidence in the trunk of his car that he had to get back. And that car was the Acura that the police had, and he asked for back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently there's a bunch of damning evidence in the trunk of his Acura. We don't know how she died, but his former cellmate might share some light on that. Clements had told him she was strangled and that chemicals were poured all over her body. That cellmate said he was shown photos of Celis's home that Clements kept inside a Bible in his cell. And when the police searched his cell and Bible, they did find the photos of Celis's home. That's right.
Wow.
He kept the trophy in prison of his murder.
And a Bible for that fact.
In a Bible.
Wow.
The police announced on Friday, September 14th, that 36-year-old Clements was indicted on multiple felony charges. The Pima County attorney then spelled the charges against Clements, including first-degree murder, kidnapping, and burglary in the second degree. Now let's look at another set of bones because we kind of brushed over it. It's actually a third set of bones. Let me triple check that. So that's where I'm getting confused. Clements said that there was 4 bodies buried in that area.
Mm.
The 5 to 8-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
and then this next victim. This victim was found before she had started to decompose. She was found right after she had been dumped.
Mm.
So, you okay, Hermione?
Her mouth's probably dry.
So now, Clements was aiding when Clements was aiding the police in looking for Isabelle's body. It took a while. When Clement was in the car because he was looking for a marker, and that marker was a stack of tires. Now, this flagged in police's heads because a few years prior, a girl had been found dead in the same area near a stack of tires. And when the stack of tires that Clements was looking for was found, it was the exact same ones.
Mm.
In June 2014, Isabelle had been missing for 2 years when a 911 call from a woman saying there was a body alongside the road of Trico Road in Avra Valley. She told deputies where in the section of the road the body was. As the responding deputy showed up, he saw what looked like drag marks, and as he got closer, he smelled the smell of decomposition.
Mm.
And then he saw her, a naked body buried under a stack of tires, under a mesquite tree, and what would be appeared to be a small wash.
Wow.
And about 5 feet north, there are a bunch of tires. On June 6, 2014, police did not know who the girl was or what was going on. In hope to identify the girl, a photo of a tattoo she had of an anchor necklace she had was photo of a tattoo and an anchor necklace she had was released to the public. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough. Police began to get numerous calls. Several tips were called, and they were able to help identify the girl as 13-year-old Mirabelle Victoria Gonzalez.
Mm.
And there was an autopsy report that was done on June 9th. When the body was examined, there was no obvious signs of trauma to the body. There was no obvious sign to what killed her. And later, in a month, a toxicology report was done, and it arrived. It came back with cannabinoids, carboxy, THC. So all there was weed.
Oh wow.
They also confirmed it was her because her fingerprints didn't match up, so they had to use DNA against her mom and dad to help confirm.
Oh wow.
She was determined to have died by unspecified means because of how advanced the decomposition was. Because remember, in Arizona,
the heat.
yeah. So that means also he killed her 2 years before. He killed Celis 2 years before he killed her. So when the police found her body, they were right near Isabelle Celis's body.
Wow.
And they had no clue.
I was gonna say they didn't know it.
No.
Wow.
Her last known location was actually her mom's apartment on Broadway and Cole. Her father explained when he was questioned by police that Mirabelle was dating a man in his 20s. And she, of course, was trying to hide it, and they found his name. And when they questioned him, he had a tattoo of Mirabelle on his forearm.
Dude.
He said they had broken up months before she went missing, but on the last night she had been seen, he got a text from her saying she had gotten into a fight with her mom and was asking if he could pick her up. He ignored the text because he had to go to work early the next morning, and then she was never seen or heard from again. So police started interviewing people, and I think the mom is something happens to the mom, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so when a teacher was interviewed, she said that Mirabelle was a constant runaway and that she rarely showed up for school. Maribel's Facebook also had messages of her going to buy weed from someone, but that was about it. Her mom had said she loved hanging out at Park Place Mall. Remember who was working at Park Place Mall?
Yeah.
Remembering and remembering Celis lived near the Park Place Mall. Mirabelle was 5 feet tall, 91 pounds, and had brown hair. She had a butterfly tattoo on her collarbone, and she was described as a trusting person, and she thought everyone was her friend. And her father was like, not everyone is friendly. He tried to tell her all the time, not everyone is friendly, but she refused to accept
Yeah.
that. She was accepting of everyone, and she had a big heart. She was funny. Um, I will say Mirabelle's mother was also going through it.
Yeah.
6 months before her daughter was found dead, on New Year's Day, Michael Led got into a fight with a woman named Cindy Burnett while walking near 36th Street near Camino. And it was said Patrick Balbisto and his girlfriend Valerie Mirabelles saw this fight. So it was said Patrick Battisto and his girlfriend Valerie Mirabelles, so Mirabelle's mom, saw this fight. So Patrick pulled over, called the cops, and went to go break up the fight. But Michael attacked Patrick when he got out of the car, and then Michael got into Patrick's car and ran Valerie, Cindy, and Michael over with their car and uh,
Oh, wow.
drove away.
Wow.
So Mirabelle's mom had 6 months previous to her daughter going missing been run over by somebody.
Jeez.
Cindy and Patrick died of their injuries.
Oh, ooh, well, that's murder.
And Michael Leeds was convicted of double murder and sentenced to 57.5 years in prison in 2015,
Oof.
with a credit of 699 days of time served.
Wow.
Valerie survived but was in a coma sometime and was recovering when she found out her daughter was dead.
Poor
Uh,
woman.
what happened to Mirabelle remains a mystery for years, but when Isabelle's body was found, where hers was, police started piecing the pieces together. On March 30th, 2017, when Isabelle's body was found, a detective showed Mirabelle's mom a photo of a lineup with Clements in it. And at the time, he was a level 3 sex offender and he lived in the same area of town as Mirabelle. It was noted she didn't pick him up out, but then, as we talked about earlier, they found these photos on his computer.
Mm-hmm.
And they also found the body in the desert 4 months after Mirabelle was found. An inmate that had met Clements told police Clements had told him the story of Valerie and that Clements said the woman in the hospital was told not to say anything or she would be killed. But she didn't keep her mouth shut, and he said Mirabelle was the woman's daughter. So it was a retaliation killing. It was like Clements had said about Isabelle. It's weird. Clements blames the families
Mm-hmm.
almost always for his victim's death. He always goes, it was a retaliation killing. Why are you making up this retaliation killing story?
Yeah.
For your victim's family. It's weird.
Makes no sense, dude.
So, when they were looking at the burglary cases, they were actually able to find letters written to Melissa,
Mm-hmm.
because they had all these search warrants, so they're searching his home. And in these letters, he talked about Mirabelle and Isabelle, and it was written 2 months before he led them to Isabelle's body. On page 5 of one of the letters, he wrote, "I also have another idea where the area where YK Wake, oh, you know who, in reference to Isabelle, was found. There was another, and I'm sure it's unsolved. As well, if it got leaked to the press when you know who was found was the same place another was found, the media would be in a frenzy."
Oh, wow.
So he's writing to Melissa saying, I know where you know who is. And I know there's another body found near where you know whose body was found. And if the media finds out, it'll be a frenzy.
Wow.
In another letter on June 3rd, he wrote Mirabelle Gomez's name and states she's in the same place as Isabelle.
Wow.
Police then questioned him about Mirabelle, and he was all over the place. I don't know. I think I've seen her. I don't remember. It rings a bell. He was just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Clement's DNA was obtained with a search warrant and it was tested against a partial profile found on Mirabelle, and it matched.
Wow.
On Friday, September 14th, he was indicted on multiple felony charges to include the murder of Isabelle and Mirabelle. He was charged with 22 charges in total: 2 first-degree murders, 2 kidnapping of a minor, 2 burglary in the second degree, 1 theft of property or service, 1 traffic in stolen property, and 14 charges of sexual exploitation of a minor.
Marner.
He pleaded not guilty
Wow.
to any of these charges. Now, there's a question on people's minds about the Celises, Celises, that everyone was asking. Could they have caught Clemens earlier and prevented Mirabelle's death?
Well, I mean, what were you expecting to find out?
Well, it turns out that Clement's name appeared in the Celis investigation more than once. So remember, Celis was murdered before Mirabelle.
Yeah.
His name appeared multiple times in the investigation.
And the cops didn't look into it.
Yeah. If they had probably done more of an investigation onto Clemens, Mirabelle may have still be alive.
To me, I think if you do an investigation and somebody's name pops up more than 3 times, that should be something that's looked at.
Clemens' name was on the sex offender list that they questioned, and he spoke to them on May 10th, 2.5 weeks after her disappearance. Rebecca also told police on April 21st, the day she was reported missing, a man went to the Solis home and was asking to buy the Acura, but they never let him in. Remember, he has a thing for Acura.
Right.
Rebecca described him to the police, and the description matched Clements pretty well. But since he never gave a name, they were never able to fully follow up on it. And actually, when interviewed about it, tried to say it wasn't him, but 2 other guys who are expressing interest in them, which is weird.
Yeah.
Ultimately, as much as I hate to say it, on September 24th, 2018, um, I hate to say yes and no. If there had been more of an investigation, if she gave that description, if maybe they had given her a lineup of sexual offenders
Somebody
on
prior.
the list, she could have pointed him out.
Yeah.
If there were other things done in the investigation,
Differently.
could have. But
And if
he's a monster, and you
they could have
can't,
been more thorough about it too. Like,
instead of
because
focusing so much on the family.
yeah, you're too busy pointing fingers at the family to blame them for it, especially the dad.
Hmm.
It's like you have somebody again. If a sex offender's name pops up more than 3 times,
You know
you
what
need
you
to do
could
your
do?
job.
A lineup. You did it with Mirabelle. Why didn't you do it with the Solis family?
Hmm.
Unless you did do it and he hadn't appeared yet. But if that's the case, then don't you think she would remember and be like, hey, one of the people on that photo lineup you showed me,
Yeah,
he came to the house asking to buy Acura?
yeah.
Because I think I'm going to talk about it later on. He does this weird thing where, like I said, he has an obsession with Acuras. When he would rob a home, he would specifically rob a home because there was an Acura in the front of the house.
What the heck is it about Acuras
I
that
don't
he
know what
likes
it is
so
about
much?
Acuras. I think he's got a fetish for him. I think he wants to fuck a car.
Oh, you give him a chance, he might. Hopefully, he gets it stuck in the tailpipe.
Hopefully. So on September 24th, 2018, Clements was arraigned and given a $2 million all-cash bond in order to be released after he pleaded not guilty. The state of Arizona filed a notice of intent to seek the death penalty on February 8th, 2019. 11 days later, in response, a psychologist was appointed to determine IQ and competency. Clements said, I don't need that, and the court canceled those tests, but still said he needed to do some tests to prove he was sane at the time of the murders.
Yeah.
Now, Clements' team filed a motion to redetermine probable cause, and the documents that were given give us some info into the asking about the Acura, internet searches history, the items that were Isabelle's, the window being open, and the stuffed animals. So remember how I said the police said the stuffed animals were completely
Yeah.
organized? They were not. They were thrown around. And there was blood going from Isabel's bed to the window.
Oh wow.
Remember how I said they found one drop of blood that they said was Isabel's? There's
Yeah.
no
There was
bodily
more.
fluid.
There was more.
There was a lot more than what the police told the press.
So they hid evidence from the.
The press. And I get it why you gotta hide some stuff,
Yeah.
but no, that's not.
So they found blood and bodily fluid.
You literally set up the family to be the immediate
Yeah.
person that the public.
So does the police have something against the family?
Maybe. Because to me, if you go, oh, the stuffed animals were completely in order and there was only one drop of blood, okay, that's a little weird. Maybe the somebody had, because the stuffed animals are under the window, so maybe.
Yeah.
But to find out that the stuffed animals were thrown around and there was a trail of blood leading out the window,
Yeah.
that just that proves to me even further it wasn't the family. You set up the family to be the main culprits in the public's eye. You
Yep.
caused them pain and trouble for no reason.
Yep. So it makes you wonder if that person that set them up is also a person that was working with Clemens. Yeah, no?
So, and the shoe impressions on the electrical boxes
Yeah.
matched Nike T-Light model sneakers, and no one in the house had those shoes.
Huh.
So another way of they did not release that they were looking for this type of shoe.
So they were hiding a lot.
Um, there were multiple photos of Clements with those kinds of shoes on.
Okay.
In the negotiation with the FBI to show where her body was, the police also discovered 21 gold coins that were stolen from two women's houses, and police believe Clements stole them and sold them after hours at a pawn shop and told police it was Sergio who did it.
Oh, wow.
There was also evidence Clement called the home of the Celis family dating as far back as 2011. She was kidnapped in 2012.
Huh.
And remember how I said he liked Acuras? Well, he liked to use them to pick his victims' houses, and he robbed any house that he saw that had Acuras in front. Those police had two Acuras in front of their home.
Oh, wow.
They also tracked his phone movements on the day Isabelle went missing and saw he was close to her on the night of April 20th and the morning of April 21st. And then he shot off a cell tower near I-10, and then he hit a tower near Chico Road. And then they did the same thing with his phone for Mirabelle, and it followed the exact same thing. But after Isabelle's murder, he got a car wash and changed his cell phone number.
Wow.
And it wasn't just any car wash. It wasn't like he washed the dirt off the car. He got a detailed cleaning.
There was no evidence left of anything.
And remember those photos that I previously stated he had? It was a photo of what looked like Clement in the front seat with the young girl laying down in the back seat, and the girl bears a resemblance of Isabelle Celis.
Oh, wow.
When the photo was shown to her family, they said it looked like her, but the image was of poor quality, so they couldn't say for sure. His defense team tried to get a lot thrown out and separate the. Of course,
Sorry,
they
I'm
do.
laughing because it's like, you really?
And they tried to separate the charges to separate murders of Isabelle and Mirabelle. And the court did grant this, hence why he had two trials. The tracking was deemed legal, and they were also using the negotiations, and they tried to get that thrown out, and it was deemed eligible to be used in court.
Okay.
They also tried to get the case moved to a different jurisdiction because of the notability of the case. There were specific things that were allowed for the Mirabelle case, and I will say it is strong evidence. That was not allowed for the Solis case.
Mm.
Clemens also asked for a different judge because she defended a retired deputy. That was denied. The trial of Mirabelle was held January 11th, 2022, and Isabelle's trial was on February 22nd, 2022. These were rescheduled. So Mirabelle's was on April 19th, 2022, and Isabelle's was on May 24th, 2022. From what I understand, it was postponed again.
Jeez.
Mirabelle's case was still in 2022, and he was found guilty of the kidnapping and murder of Mirabelle. In February 2024, he was found guilty of murdering and kidnapping Isabelle Celis. On April 10th, 2024, he was sentenced to life in prison for his crimes with no possibility of parole. They have not released which prison he is serving in. I'm assuming for his safety, because he
Yeah.
would classify as a chomo, and we know what happens to people like him in prison.
Yeah.
I hope he gets what he deserves.
Yeah. And not only that, I'm glad they did not grant and give him the death penalty. And I'm not saying that for his sanity and his safety, but he didn't get that because guess what? Now he has to live in prison for the rest of his life
As a chomo.
as a chomo.
Do you know what a chomo is?
And no, and then
Let me find the technical term for chomo.
but not just that, but also for somebody who now has to live with it for the rest of his life, which he probably doesn't really care. 2 young innocent girls that he murdered.
No, 3. Because
3.
remember,
Oh yeah, that's right. The
but
third
she's
one.
unidentified,
Still, he murdered 3 innocent girls,
and he claims to have murdered 4,
but they only found 3.
and the one is still unidentified.
Oh.
And the 4th one they've never found. But we know men like him. Men like him who claim to be bigger than they actually are because they're minor, insignificant specks in society.
You know who you're going to answer to when it comes your time.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to tell you.
So, chomo is a derogatory slang term used in the U.S. prison systems as shorthand for child molester.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, so.
And guess what, buddy? If you're in a prison where people have been sitting in jail for doing that crap and they've learned their lesson, oh boy, Bubba, you're going to become someone's Bubba.
He had photos of 3-year-olds.
Oh, and when they find that out too, ooh.
Do you know it said I was listening to a podcast about these guys who like they've served time in prison.
Yeah.
And sometimes the guards will specifically put a piece of clothing on top to notify the prisoners, especially if the crime was particularly heinous, to notify the prisoners that he is a chomo.
I never knew that.
In certain instances, from what I've heard from
Boy.
some people who've served time, that some prison guards will be like, especially if it's like particularly really really heinous and it's like an awful thing, and the prison guard's like, I can't do anything about it, but
I'm gonna leave this right here.
yeah,
And
no,
try
like
to walk
they'll,
away.
because they walk in with their blanket and their clothing.
Yeah.
If certain things are like stacked a certain way, it like signifies.
Oh shit.
So the prisoners look for it, especially if like you put it down and you're bedding with somebody. The person you're bedding with will see the way it's stacked and know.
So it could be like a blanket, a sheet.
And then your shirt is on top of your pants instead of your pants on top of your shirt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've also heard that the first question you're asked is, what are you in for? And
Because like
chomos are recommended to lie, of course.
But they'll know. They'll find out. They know why you're in there.
Oh, because most of the time, like for example, sometimes they'll say, "Oh, I did tax evasion." Now, from what I understand, people who do tax evasion, they like to brag about their tax evasion because they're like, "I got one up on the government until I got caught."
Yeah.
Right? And
it kind of reminds me of Joe Pesci and Lethal Weapon. No, this is, he literally runs it down and he's talking to 2 cops.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing.
He's talking to 2 cops.
Those who commit fraud and tax evasion, from what I understand, once they're in prison for it, they kind of are like blabbermouths. They like try to tell them where like they messed up. But if you are faking fraud and you're like, "Oh, I'm in for fraud." Yeah, what kind of fraud? This kind of fraud.
What kind of fraud is that? Is it is it
That's
check fraud?
immediate. That's a sign to them that you're trying to hide what you're actually in for. And most of the time, you're not going to hide what you're in for unless you're a chomo.
And again,
there's ways. I have seen so many podcasts of so many people who are just like, I know the prison where Gabriel Hernandez, which we will cover eventually his case, the prison where the dad is, ooh, they got to keep him in solitary for the rest of his friggin' life. His mom, on the other hand, because women prisons are a little bit different. They know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
She's just secluded. They don't necessarily beat the shit out of you unless you start bragging on it. Then they beat the shit out of you.
See, that's the difference between you go in, it's like, yeah, I did this, this, and this. Boy, shut your mouth. Because you've
Um,
got people in there that have been in there for years, longer than you have.
but in women's prison, they just seclude you. They find out you're a chomo. They go, okay, no, I'm the you don't sit with the group. You got to sit outside the group.
Yeah, you are
You don't get the
separated.
privileges. You
You're
need to stay
segregated.
separated because if you and it's not even like a prison segregates them. The prisoners segregate themselves from them. They go, no, we don't want nothing to do with you. You can stay in your corner. And if like let's say they try to like interact or integrate, it's like no,
Get away.
um,
Back off.
I
Stay in
will
your.
fuck you up if you come up to me like that again.
Yeah, makes sense though.
Yeah,
Except for a man's prison, you just get fucked up.
yeah. You just. I remember listening to a podcast where this dude was like, he found out his cellmate was a chomo, and they had given him how he knew was the prison guard had given this dude a jacket, and that was how he knew that the prison guard had given him a jacket, and that prison guard specifically put the jacket with chomos. And he asked, "What's on your yellow slip?" And that's like fraud. And he goes, "Okay, what kind of fraud? Credit card fraud? How much you steal? I don't know." He
See,
knew, and he goes, "You're gonna request to be a new. You're gonna request your own cellmate because if I stay the night with you, you're not coming out of the cell."
like, sorry, he died in his sleep.
So he had to that roommate that they had that cellmate he had given him, the chomo immediately had to go to a different cell. They had to go to prison guard and go, I need a different cell. He refuses to bed with me.
He threatened to
And
kill
then
me.
he told the one that they were going to board him with, told everyone in the prison how what he was.
And that sucks. That sucks for you. That sucks for you so bad.
But you get what you deserve.
Because again, you will meet the
What was it?
almighty person
What
that will
was
judge
it?
where you go.
There's a dude in prison for murder, right? He got life in prison, and he walks around with a cane because he has a leg injury. And I forgot where he is in the United States, but he now just goes around and uses his cane to kill chomos because he's already got life in prison. What more are they gonna do to him?
Good point.
Because I think it was like his niece or something. Something had happened to her,
Yeah.
and now he's just like, I'm gonna kill every single one I can get my hands on. He's like, I'm already in prison. No, he went to prison because somebody had assaulted his niece.
Yeah.
And he killed the person who assaulted his niece.
So he went to okay.
And he got life in prison with no possibility of parole for doing that. And so now he's like, I'm not going anywhere. Which, like, damn.
And I wonder if his niece visited him in prison, like if she's older or something.
If she's like, thank you.
Right?
To me, that's, you know what? You're doing the work that sometimes needs to be done.
Yep. Still, the man upstairs is going to judge you at the end.
Yeah. I wonder, do you think he would get leniency? The Chomo killer? Do you think he would get leniency? Do you think God's like, your heart's in the right place?
No.
See, I think he. I
I
think.
don't know. I don't know. I'm not God. I'm not going to say yes or no. Okay, I take that back. I don't know. I'm not God.
Yeah, to me, I'm not saying I'm God, but to me, I see it as like his heart's in the right place. He's trying to get rid of bad people in his own way.
Oh, okay.
Is
We're
it-
talking about that dude. I thought
Yeah.
we were talking about Clemens. I'm like, hell no, he ain't going to get
Oh
no
yeah, no,
leniency.
hell no, he's not going there. Like, he's burning in an eternal fiery lake.
Okay, so I see who you're
No, I'm talking
about
about the dude who kills child
Chomos.
molesters.
Yeah.
Do you think God looks at him and goes, "Your heart's kind of in the right place"?
But you can't be doing that.
Because I think he's killed like 5 in prison.
Probably why they don't send him there anymore. They probably send him elsewhere. And then he just sends a pigeon to the next prison to do a telegram.
Hi.
Right.
But that is the Isabelle Celis case. I remember this case.
I
I
remember
did
little
not.
bits. I didn't follow it.
I did not know they had found her body. I did not know. I don't know when they are going to identify the next body. If they're in the process of trying to identify that 5 to 8 year old Indigenous girl. But Indigenous people, I will say, are a lot harder to track.
Oh, stop.
Stop.
It's because I was rubbing her, getting her dandruff off of her. She didn't like that. I'm sorry for touching your dummy. Tummy, not dummy. Getting your.
Did you see how she looked at me when I went, stop?
Yeah, because I was trying to get the dandruff off of her.
And she went like this to her hand.
I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm sorry. I
but
didn't
yeah.
mean to do that.
That is the
You stuck
last of our
dandruff on
Tucson
your mama.
cases.
I'm
You will
sorry.
all be very, very happy to know that the case after this is going to be like a 5-parter. It's going to be, you want to say it? Say it again.
Jack the Ripper. With a smile on my face.
We are going to do Jack
Because
the
I
Ripper.
am so interested in wanting to know more. That does not make me a weirdo. I am just interested in Jack the Ripper.
I got like 50 pages of information on Jack the Ripper. This is going to be the funnest case I've ever had.
And why are we whispering and talking so low? Because it's awesome.
So we're going to record. So heads up for the Jack the Ripper case. We're recording all day, every episode, back to back.
You said 5 parts?
5 parts.
Or 5 parts. So we're going to take a break in between. We're going to do 2 parts. Take a break.
Do 2 more parts.
Do 2 more parts. Take a break. If it gets too late in the evening, we might have to do the next part the next day.
But we will be doing Jack the Ripper.
Dun, dun, dun.
God
See
help
how
us.
excited I get because of this? How excited did I get when we did the Bayou Strangler? Favorite case so far? Still my favorite case.
So,
Not about what happened to the peoples.
Yeah.
But for some stupid reason, when we started this last year, we've almost been going for a year.
Yeah, we
On our
have.
little podcast. So I'm proud of us. High five us. We're doing great.
No, I think when this airs, we will have been doing it for a year.
Yeah. So we've been doing this for
Wait,
a
no,
year.
this is episode 50 what?
I don't remember. I gotta look it up.
I think you said 54?
No. Gary whatever his face is was 55.
This is 56 then.
No.
Yes, Isabelle Celis is 56. Oh, no, Gary Triano is 55. Charles Martin's 56. This is
It's
57.
Okay.
We've been doing this for longer than a year.
So we've done almost 60 cases, folks. 60 cases. And
wait, episode 60 is going to be Jack the Ripper.
That
was unintentional.
That was unintentional. Reminds me of Candace from Phineas and Ferb. So yes, I'm excited about this case because for the simple fact of like I got excited about the Bayou Strangler. What did you want to call it? What did you want to call the Bayou Strangler? Something else. The Louisiana. I'm like, no, I like Bayou Strangler better. There's just something about the name.
The Louisiana. I think another name that he went by was the Louisiana Strangler or something like that.
And then when she said it was, oh yeah, it's down by the bayou. It's like, nope, we're changing that. Bayou Strangler. It just sounds better than Louisiana. Nothing against Louisiana, but that became my favorite case because I was so excited to hear more about it. Now, the other one, and mind you, when we go to do our Q&A, we're changing the name of the Q&As
to Tea Time.
Tea Time with Abigail and
Well,
Michelle.
this is going to air after our first Tea Time.
So from here on out, it is going to be called Tea Time, and Tea Time is pretty much not going to be anything about questions. It's going to be like if we've done past cases and she's looked at it, we're going to dive into the tea.
Yeah, we're gonna dissect like if we like how I've been doing like research on the phone when it comes to certain things. If there's something in the cases, you guys can still ask questions and
Mm.
I'll talk about it. But I think tea time just like for example, when we talk about we're gonna do a tea time on the Long Island serial killer.
Yeah, I think if we pick a case out of, so we do tea time. I like
Hmm.
calling it tea time because it just sounds so British. Really?
Really?
Knocking off my pillows.
Knocked off a
But
pillow.
I like tea time. Tea time just sounds better because what? You're looking for the tea.
And by the time we come back, we will have a tea time and it's gonna be in the new place.
Yes. We won't have it very well decorated yet,
We'll
but
add to it.
we'll add to it as we go along. We're going to
Hmm.
get a proper setup. We're still going to be doing it from the phone for the time being until we can get that proper setup. Um, but tea time now has been, that's the new name for it. So the Q&A, I think that'll draw more attention if you call it tea time. But it's, we could pick one case out of every 10 episodes that we've done
Yeah.
and kind of not focus on it, but dive deeper into it or try to, because some of them you can't really dive deeper into it. Some of
Yeah.
them you might not be able to dig
I think
into it.
also like if we do the 10 episodes, we can like for example, let's say we're sitting there and you're like all of a sudden you're like, "Can we just talk about more about the Cindy James murder real quick?"
Yeah, that's true.
Or just randomly, the Charles Morgan case.
Yeah.
Can we please talk about how that doesn't make sense?
Can we not talk about? Oh, I already forgot the case I don't like.
The Black Guy Ripper?
That one. Can we not talk about that?
I mean, it is an interesting case though.
Yeah, but then how mysteriously did our potato peeler go missing? The potato peeler went missing after that case.
That is true.
So we're not talking about that one.
I
I mean,
feel
yes, it is a very interesting case, but it makes you look at it makes you
it's like if
look
we
at your home items not in the same way.
it's like if yeah, I will admit because sometimes now I look at a hammer and I can't think of a hammer the same again. Ever since the Yorkshire Ripper case, I can't look
Dude,
at hammers the same again.
Yorkshire Ripper case is good. I think we had quite a few views on that one.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do on our first tea time, the new tea time, look at the most viewed cases.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do that. Maybe because the Yorkshire Ripper Part 2 got a lot of views.
Yeah.
So maybe go back and again, we've got almost 60 videos, folks. We went from um we have 192 videos.
Mhm.
So we have almost
Cuz
200
this
videos.
is airing in May, isn't it? Yeah, it's airing in May.
Yeah. So we got time to do this.
To
We got
think.
time to think, and maybe at the time that we move,
Do you have something to say?
we do our tea time. We can have new shirts. Who knows?
Oh, she wants to give you love.
No, no, no talkie. Okay, she no want a talkie, but she does like to make her appearance, and this is Marie's first really appearance.
Yeah, this is Marie's first opinion. Do you have anything to say, Marie? Marie is the older one.
She's the oldest, yeah, out of all the girls.
She gets a little judgy.
I know. So yeah. So
Yeah.
that was a
I feel like the police dropped the ball by focusing too much on the family. I don't think the family deserved that.
no. The family did not deserve to be judged. Next time, maybe more people will start listening to the family when they're trying to tell them things
Yeah.
instead of looking at. I hate to say this, but to me, it sounds like it was a setup on the family, like you're saying,
I
but
think
also racial wise. That's just my
yeah,
opinion, folks.
both of his victims are Hispanic young girls. He's
That's
got a type.
it's to me, it's like a racial profiling. Let's put it that way. I'll put it that way.
He's
It's
racist.
like it's a racial profile for him.
Something about that you think I'm as stupid as these half breed mutts.
Yeah,
That just feels racial. As someone who is biracial, that just feels racial.
yeah. So I mean, I'm very sorry to the family for your loss, both families, and
Yes.
the potential third. that has lost somebody.
You don't deserve
No.
what happened to you. Celis family does not deserve to have been the main focus.
Humiliated.
They didn't deserve the police.
They were humiliated.
They were humiliated.
They
The
were
police
humiliated by
saying,
them.
"Oh, the stuff was found in neat order," cuz the found neat and tidy the stuffed animals, and then finding out in the trial that no, the stuffed animals were thrown around. There
Mhm.
wasn't a single, it wasn't just one single drop of blood like the police had originally told the press. It was instead of trail of blood.
Mhm.
You knew the sneakers. You were able to track the sneakers and found that nobody in the house had ever owned those sneakers before.
Go on. Go on.
It felt like the family was set up.
Mhm.
And it also felt like this guy, Clemens, he watched Celis. He
Yeah.
watched
He
Isabelle.
had to have been watching her for a while.
There's no way he did not take a picture of their house and have a photo of their house out of nowhere. He'd been watching that house.
And if they were by the Park Place Mall and they lived by the
Mm-hmm.
Park Place Mall,
Yeah.
there's a way for him to be able to see and pinpoint because oh, watch out, Tataru. She might nip at you.
Oh, she's trying to get up because she's
She's
tired of it.
no, she is trying to. She's licking her foot. Right there, Hermione. Oh, maybe this couch is too soft for you. You have a hard time getting up. She's all shit. Your lips.
Yeah, the family did not. Mirabelle's family, first, the mom experienced a tragedy.
Mhm.
I mean, getting run over, being in a coma, and
And
then
then wakes up from a coma just to find
find out
out
your daughter's is been kidnapped and
his
your
daughter.
partner. And I think with Mirabelle, there was not as much of a notification of her abduction because they went, "Oh, she's a runaway." The same reason that Isabel's dad, I firmly believe, said abduction instead of, "Oh, she's missing. Oh, she's not here," is because he wanted to avoid that exact idea.
Yeah,
She's a runaway.
and her being symbolized as a runaway. Unfortunately, like Mirabelle's.
I will say again to the 20-year-old who was dating a 13-year-old, my guy,
Shame on you.
shame on you. I get it. You may have had feelings for her because you had a tattoo of her on your forearm, but
FYI, people, never put the name of somebody on your body.
yeah,
Never.
it's bad luck. It's bad juju.
You
But
never do that.
that's also a little weird, my guy. A little weird. Don't date 13-year-olds when you're 20, please.
Yeah. I'm surprised the parents allowed it. To be
I
honest.
what the dad said that she was trying to pretend that she didn't. The dad knew
Oh, she
full
was
well. Yeah,
hiding
she
it.
was hiding it, but like the dad had a feeling,
Yeah.
but like she was hiding it.
Yeah. Very true
Still,
about that.
again, she, I think her Isabelle Solis's case is sad. I think her case is to me a little sadder because no one missed her until her body was found.
Yeah.
Solis, she was missing, and people missed her from the moment she went missing.
Hmm.
With Mirabelle, she wasn't missing until her
They
body
come.
was found.
Yeah, they come across, which is
And then
sad.
her case was not solved for 2 years. No, her case, they found her body 2 years after Isabelle Solis went missing.
Yeah.
So that means, and they found Isabelle Solis 5 years after she went missing. So that means for 3 years, there was not a single movement forward in the solving of Mirabelle's case.
Hence why when this happened to Isabel, hers was brought back up.
Because the police were, wait, I remember.
Well, not only that, the community, the other people,
Y-
because one is an indigenous person and the other one is the race. Like
Yeah,
it's a whole.
again, I think his, because serial killers have a victimology. I firmly believe he is a serial killer. I think he was just caught early. He was not in his sped up period when they caught him. He was in his early years.
Yeah.
I think the fact that there's the bone, they found the remains of a 5 to 8 year old indigenous girl who has yet to be identified.
Hmm.
Um, Mirabelle's body was found there 3 years before Isabel's body was found there, and that 5 to 8 year old girl's bodies
Yeah.
were found. Um, don't go looking for their body. Don't go looking for where they were. Just
I'm glad the police didn't show
yeah, I'm glad
exactly where.
the police did not tell the exact location. They didn't do the press conference at the location because
That's just
they
gonna
may
draw
have
more
died
attention than needed.
if they were strangled. That's got to be a terrible death for a child. You probably don't know what's happening.
Uh-uh. You don't understand why they're doing it.
Exactly. At least as an adult, you can understand this person is a monster. This person is a bad person.
Hmm.
But Mirabelle, who believed that everyone was a good person,
And tried to find everyone as a good person.
even though her dad
She
was
tried
like,
to
not
find.
everyone is. But she was like, no, they're all pretty good people. So, yes, I'm hearing about Isabelle Celis' cases is heartbreaking.
Hmm.
But I think Mirabelle's, to me, at least personally, is a little more heartbreaking
Hmm.
because
Nobody continued to pay attention to it.
exactly.
After a certain period of
If
time, they just
if
stopped.
Isabelle Celis's body hadn't been found,
Hmm. They wouldn't have found hers.
they wouldn't have no, they wouldn't have no, because Mirabelle's was found.
Oh,
And
then
then 3 years later Celis's
Lisa,
body was
yeah.
found. If Celis's body had not been found,
Mhm.
Mirabelle's killed Mirabelle would have never been she would have just been another dead missing girl.
She wouldn't have got justice.
No,
And I say that with much respect to both girls.
both girls.
All,
It
all.
was it was an oversight on the police department.
Yep.
The police department, as much as I hate to say it, again, when we talk about because we haven't done the Long Island State serial killer,
Mhm.
even to this day, the police make these concepts in their brain about people, and then that's how they solve their investigation based off these preconceived notions.
In
Y-
every case we have done so far, I'm just laughing in
Even to
general
this day.
because what are you guys not doing?
Exactly. To this day, if oh, she was a prostitute. Okay. Oh, what? In the Black Dahlia, the one we just recorded, the
Yeah.
police officer. Well, she probably upset a man because she was a tease.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't mean she deserved murder.
Look at the what is the one female, the trunk murder?
The trunk murderess.
Like that's the first female murderer that I've heard of. That and what's weird is I remember talking about it. And then not only that, we also found out later because I
Mhm.
watched it on TV and seen it. I was like, hey, we just got to talking about that one, but they
Mhm.
called it something else. Learning that at
Disney, they
Disney
have the
Disney California Adventure at what used to be the Tower of Terror is now Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a newspaper article, no joke, that they have in the ride.
Mhm.
Don't know if they still have it because they updated.
Mhm.
Obviously they updated the ride, and I don't get on the ride because I don't like elevator drops.
They
But
don't. I looked for it.
did you? Okay, so so they had the article. They literally had that article sitting there.
I think also it's just I think
Are
we're
you
going to
waiting for us to shut up?
I think after when we do the pre-recording of the Long Island serial killer, I think this is going to be a subject we talk about a lot because the first victim that
Sorry.
was notified, that police got notified to, was a prostitute, right?
Yeah.
Spoiler. Well, not spoiler for you, spoiler for you. And she goes missing. People in a neighborhood see her running. They see her running down the street away from something out of fear. Multiple people call the cops.
Huh.
Cops drive through the neighborhood, don't see her, they just leave. They come back the next morning and go, "Hey, you see where that girl went?"
When you could have been doing that while you were there.
It's a preconceived notion, and as much as I hate to say it, even to this day and age, police get a preconceived notion about somebody, and that determines if they're going to actually solve the crime.
Hmm.
And that is the most heartbreaking thing because how many women, how many girls, how many men have been killed and nobody is solving their case because of the preconceived notion that maybe they deserved it because some police officer goes, "Oh, they were a prostitute. They lived a
Or
dangerous
something else.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
Oh, they're a runaway. It's okay. They'll be found later." No, it's not. You don't know where they are.
Well, you ain't looking hard enough.
Yeah. Nobody goes missing without a trace. There's always a trace. It's just a matter if you look hard enough.
That requires you to get out from behind the desk and look.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of your car and look.
So we're going to talk about the next episode. We're going to talk about Jack the Ripper, which also kind of ties into what we just talked about, how preconceived notions. Yeah.
And I don't know much about Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, she does not. I will say I may not be the best one to talk about Jack the Ripper because I talk a lot about the victims. I don't talk so much on Jack and his I do talk quite a bit about his methodology and all that other stuff. But I don't do a lot of time. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over theories of who could be Jack the Ripper. I'm going to go over a lot of time over who the victims were. Because even though there were only 5 victims,
He did a
he only killed 5.
lot.
He only has the canonical 5. There's other people they say were him, but canonically, there's only 5.
Well, maybe the next time we go to talk about Jack the Ripper, we'll talk about Jack the Ripper himself.
Well,
Even though we don't know who it is.
well, and
we can
I
go
do
over the
give
theory.
I do give theories as to who he is,
Yeah.
but I feel like when we talk about Jack the Ripper, we get like, oh my gosh, it's Jack the Ripper. We forget that he had victims, and his victims were human beings too,
Mhm.
and his victims were targeted. They were the lowest of the low. They were literally living in when we talk about
Squalor.
yeah, when we talk about I'm going to talk about what Whitechapel was at the time. I'm going to talk about the area they were living in where most of these kills happened. It was bad. Spoiler alert. It was bad. You think the rough side of town now is bad? Ooh,
Not like
you
it was
have
back then.
nothing on what the Whitechapel was back in the 1800s.
Oh, see, we're going back that far.
I'm talking about they would butcher animals in the street and be covered in blood. If you watched Victor Frankenstein, the new one on Netflix, you saw some of it. They were butchering animals on the street and almost everyone was covered in blood. That was a common occurrence in Whitechapel. So somebody walking around covered in blood, nobody really looked at
Right.
did a double take because that was a common occurrence in Whitechapel. Because butchers would literally murder animals on the street and be covered in blood all the time.
That's why the 1800s are just interesting.
They are interesting. They are. Also, we talk about the Queen.
Oh, all hail Queen of that time.
I think it's Queen Victoria.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that, and then we have one more case to pre-record. And that case is the Long Island serial killer, and I've been putting it off because I've been wanting to get to his trial, but they postponed his trial till freaking August.
So the next time in future episodes,
in
August,
in a
we will
tea time
probably
in a tea time we're going to
in a
talk
tea time,
about
yeah.
his trial probably after because I think his trial is going to be a long one. They say there's about 10 victims, so there's going to be probably quite a few witnesses, quite a few expert testimonies. There's going to be a lot when it comes to this case.
Okay.
So yeah. All right, we will talk to you guys later.
Bye.
See you with Jack
Thanks
the
for joining.
Ripper.
Wee. That was me getting up, by the way. That was me getting up
No cracking bones.
because I'm old.
Bye guys.
Finger in front of the camera.